everybody, it's Mike Johnson back in the audio section of PWInsider.com. Today is Tuesday, April 21st, 2015, but all eyes are on this Friday on the Fight Network and Destination America as TNA Impact Wrestling presents a very special TNA Knockouts edition of the series. The main event will feature the current reigning and defending TNA Knockouts champion, Taryn Terrell, who's joining us right now, facing Awesome Kong in what literally could be called the dream match. One of the originators of the Knockouts division, one of the most dominant Knockouts champions of all time, facing the current Knockouts champion, who's had quite a few classics of her own since coming into full bloom, let's say, in the Knockouts division in TNA. Taryn, thank you for joining us, and how are you doing?
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I am on cloud nine. I mean, I can't honestly even begin to explain how cool it is to be main eventing a Impact episode. But not only that, I mean, it's the Night of Knockouts. It's a show dedicated to knockouts. It's really such a cool experience. And I'm like, is this real? Is this actually happening? I'm so stoked. It's such a cool opportunity.
Obviously, when you first came into Impact Wrestling, you came in as a referee, and then you morphed into Taryn Terrell, the wrestler. We've seen you have some phenomenal matches with Gail Kim in the past. Some of Gail's best matches have been with Kong. So I'm curious if maybe you've gone back and watched those to kind of study up on Kong as you prepare for, what in a lot of ways is the biggest match of your career, because like you said, it's the main event of Impact, and it's someone who has a lot of history in TNA, who brings a lot of power in comparison to, let's say, your technical finesse, and also someone who, in a lot of ways, was one of the founders of the Knockouts division in general. So, it's an interesting matchup there between yourself and Kong. So I'm curious if you went back and kind of looked at the stuff that she did with Gail.
Yeah, I definitely watched Kong stuff in the past, and she is an incredibly talented wrestler who has a very different style than anyone that I'm used to working with. So, I think, watching her and seeing the way she works definitely helps. But, I've been in the ring with her and Gail at the same time, and it is a very different experience. So I've definitely done everything that I can to prepare myself physically and mentally for this challenge. And, this championship is everything to me. I mean, I've started in wrestling in 2007. And then I've worked for years to get to this point. And just because there's somebody who is incredibly dominant, I truly think that I have it in me to retain my title. I've earned this title, and I deserve to be champion right now. And, even though Kong is so dominant, and she was a founder in this division, I know that means I have to work even harder to do everything I can to keep it.
Now, the Knockouts division even having an episode that's pretty much centric to them is pretty unique in pro wrestling. WWE has never turned around and said, we're going to do an entire episode with the Divas on Raw or SmackDown in all the years that they've existed. So for yourself and the other women who work very hard, and I think, not that the Divas don't work hard, but there's a reason why TNA fans in New York and in other markets chant better than Divas when you guys are in the ring and you guys kind of hit that groove with a good wrestling match. What does it mean to you and the other girls, and the other ladies, I should say, I don't want to be disrespectful, that TNA gives you guys that sort of platform and that sort of faith that, hey, you guys can carry an entire 2-hour broadcast?
I mean, that's insane. Like you said, it does not happen. It's really cool to have a company that's like, hey, you know what? We believe in you guys. And that makes us believe in ourselves that much more. We all work really hard, all the knockouts. We put everything we've got. We put it all out there in the ring, and, it's really cool. And so now we've got, Impact, and they're going, all right, guys, here's the show. Go for it. I mean, that opportunity just doesn't happen. So to be a part of it and I'm main eventing it is just the most surreal, incredible experience. I just think that it gives us, I think sometimes we get in a rut, maybe there's only one women's match on TV, and, it's kind of like, gosh, we work so hard and we want more. We always want more. And they're saying, here's your opportunity. Go do it. And so it's cool. And it's, the thing is that for for Knockouts and then for women's wrestling as a whole, to see that this kind of opportunity is possible gives us that much more to work for and makes us all want to work even harder.
When you, when you think back to first getting into the professional wrestling genre through the Diva Search, and you fast forward all these years, and here you are, you're main eventing Impact. What does that mean to you that you've come so far in relatively a short period of time?
I mean, it's indescribable. When I first started, I got into the Diva Search, and I started training at FCW, and I wrestled a lot at FCW, and then a little bit on TV through WWE, and then once I was released there, I wasn't sure what the future held for me. I knew that I loved wrestling. I knew that this is what I wanted to do with my life, and I was passionate about it. And so, to be able to have the opportunity to get back on TV and, be on Impact, it was just really cool. And then I was a referee, and while I was very grateful to be on TV, I never wanted to be a referee. That's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a wrestler. And so I think I've been in this constant pattern of having to prove myself. Wrestling fans they're tough, and they don't want to see somebody who just comes in and just is given all of these opportunities. They want to see somebody work for it. And I think that, I think people that have followed me really know that I have worked my butt off for this career, and that I've had every opportunity to walk away from it, and I keep coming back, and I keep coming stronger and harder. And, that's the exact same thing I've done with this championship reign, is that every time I'm faced with a challenge, I come back harder. I get back up. You knock me down, it's fine. I get right back up, and I give it everything I have. So I think that it's just this experience, these over the years, starting with the Diva Search in 2007, and now it's 2015. I'm like, first of all, where's the time gone? And second of all, oh my gosh, I am at the top, and I didn't know that I was ever going to get here.
When you hear the Better Than Divas chant, which originated in New York, and I've seen it pop up in a couple other places as well, what does that mean? What's the reaction backstage amongst the knockouts when they hear that chant?
Well, I think the thing is that, especially, in New York has a very special fan base. There's something very special about the fans there, and there's certain things they want to see and certain things they don't want to see. And, when you go out there and you do something great in front of fans in New York, you did something great. They're not just going to cheer for anything, and they're not going to boo for anything. You need to impress those fans. And so to have, a crowd like New York that's chanting that, it's giving us energy. And I just remember laying there sometimes and hearing it, and I'm like, all right, this is awesome. They're enjoying what's going on, and that just gives me even more energy to give more back to the fans, if that makes sense. It's really cool. I mean, we all work really hard, and to be recognized for how hard we work and not just because we're out there in skimpy clothes, it is insane. That's what we go out there doing. Sure, we want to look sexy doing it, but that's not why we're out there. We're out there because we love wrestling, because we want to create magic, and the chance that we get to do it is unbelievable. And it's such a connection between us as wrestlers and the fans.
Now, you've also had a chance to make a little magic in the movies in the last couple of years, doing a lot of stunt work. Obviously, the stuff with Will Ferrell got a lot of attention. Wanted to get your memories. Right? I mean, a ridiculous amount of attention. Wanted to get your thoughts on just how much that blew up. And then I wanted to ask you, comparing stunt work to pro wrestling, obviously there's a rush of adrenaline involved in each of these, but how different or how similar are they?
It's okay. So first of all, the Will Ferrell thing, that was insane. Could not believe the amount of attention that got. I remember seeing Will, on set the next morning after that happened, because of course we filmed it live at a basketball game, but we still had more days to film. So I see him the next day, and he's like, did you catch that on every news outlet that was everywhere? And I'm like, yep, that's insane. Like, we were just kind of taken aback by how crazy and viral that went. Yeah, I mean, I've gotten really cool opportunities, and I've been able to work on humongous films, and I think that there's definitely differences as far as, one, with wrestling, I'm performing in front of a live crowd, so there's a very different pressure that goes along with that. And then when you're on a multi-million-dollar blockbuster movie, you realize that every second that you are being filmed, that how much money that actually is worth is insane, right? So it's you never want to mess up. You're like, oh my gosh, how much money am I going to cost right now if I mess up falling and tripping down these stairs? And I'm going to totally screw up maybe 100 extras that are behind me and whatever big stars are in the scene with me. So it's definitely both of them are very high pressure situations. But they're fun. I think with stunts, it gives me the opportunity to do things that are a little different than wrestling, and it's, physically demanding as well. And then, they both kind of feed into each other. There's a lot of times that I was filming a fight and, they were like, "Do you have a move that would go good here?" And I'm like, "Yep, suplex." They're like, "What's a suplex?" And I'm like, just go with it. I just suplexed them. So it's fun. It's been able to, be able to use some of my wrestling, into stunt work. And it's really cool. I will say that, wrestling, the second that people find out that I'm a wrestler on set, everybody's so interested and so excited. And it makes me excited, and I'm proud to be a wrestler. And it's those moments that make me look back and go, oh my gosh, I'm a part of something really special and cool. And, wrestling has gone through so many different cycles throughout the years. And, Impact is at a point right now where I think our Knockouts division is so strong. And I'm just I'm so proud to be a part of it, and for people to be so interested in what it is, that I do, on Impact Wrestling on Friday nights.
Now, obviously, you just had your first child a couple of months ago.
Yeah, a year. She's over
a year now? Wow. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Time goes fast.
Let me ask you this: How do you intend to explain what mommy does for a living when they get old enough and start asking? Because it's such a unique job and such a unique life. How do you intend to kind of break it down so that they can understand why you're on the road or why you're doing these different things? Because it's not like, all right, mom's going to work for the office from 9 to 5. It's such a unique lifestyle.
It really is. But, I'll tell you that I think that it's honestly, I get more time with her at home one-on-one than I would if I had a 9 to 5 job. So, one, that's really cool. Two, I think that she's going to grow up knowing this world. She's going to know that life is always, a little sporadic and a little, spontaneous, and that, that's just what mommy does. I'm definitely curious as to how I will explain it. I'm not really sure yet. Certainly I want her to understand that, beating people up and getting beat up is not the best thing in the world for her. I'm going to pray that she's an accountant and doesn't want to beat herself up for a living. But at the same time, that's just me as a mom being protective. But I will say that, I have the coolest job in the history of jobs. I think I'm biased, but I think I do. I feel like, when you're in school and you would go out to recess and that was the most exciting part of the day. I feel like that's my job, is recess. It's fun and it's challenging, but it's just a good time. So I think that, one, it'll be cool for her to know that whatever your dream is, as crazy as it might sound to people, go for it and do it. I think that's going to be my important lesson to her. And if she chooses, if she wants to get into wrestling or stunt work, or if she wants to be an accountant, or, whatever it is that she wants to do, I'm going to support her 1,000,000%.
Obviously, you've become one of the cornerstones of the Knockouts division over the last couple of years. We talked a little bit about Awesome Kong. you've had some amazing matches with Gail Kim. I got to ask you, what's that sense of satisfaction like when you guys are done with an amazing pay-per-view match and you've obviously taken your own personal performance to the next level? And then what's it like trying to live up to now the standard that you've set for yourself?
Yeah, and I think that it's insane. Going back to the Gail Kim matches, there was nothing that I had ever experienced that was like that. When we were out there, we knew that something was going on and there was some magic being created. And like walking back after that match, it was like, whoa, that was something I'd never experienced. Now, I know Gail's been able to experience that before, in her matches with Awesome Kong. And it was the first time that I've ever experienced something like that, to have a match that garnered that much excitement. So I think that, after doing that, of course, I'm like, wow, I didn't even realize what that was. I didn't realize that was possible, never having experienced it and only hearing of it. So now, of course, every time I go out, I do have the pressure of, I need to do something spectacular. I need to do something great. And I want to do that for myself, but I really want to do it for the fans. I love being able to surprise them. I love to be able to shock them and to do something different and crazy and something that they're like, whoa, that's insane, So, I definitely have kind of built this, I guess, reputation for myself. And frankly, I'm stoked because that's a cool reputation to have, is that I'm able to do that. I'm able to up the bar. I'm able to do some things that are a little different and a little crazy. And, I just want to continue to do that. I don't know that I will always be able to. I don't know that I will be able to, always be what I was in that match, but I damn well will try.
Do you feel that was still your favorite match to date, or is there something else that kind of has already knocked it off and that kind of hits the top of your top 10 list, let's just say?
Yeah, no, I mean, for sure, that was my favorite match. The ladder match, after that was one of my favorites. Another one of my favorites would have been, it was a 3-way match, where I, won the title. Obviously that's a favorite match, with Havoc and Gail. There's been like some really cool opportunities, and not only like are they awesome matches, but like we have time. We've got lots of time to wrestle and to put together these amazing matches. So I'm really blessed for these opportunities, and I know that in the future we're going to keep getting opportunities like this. I mean, it really is insane to have a show that's dedicated to women's wrestling, to knockouts, the Night of Knockouts. It's so crazy. And so it's like, these are the opportunities that we're given that we have to step up, take it to another level, and prove why we deserve these opportunities.
Obviously, I've talked a lot about the Knockouts division the last 15 minutes or so, but if there's someone out there that either hasn't given TNA a look of late, since they moved to Destination America, or for whatever reason hasn't paid close attention to TNA of late, tell them why they should make sure they tune in this Friday or Sunday in the UK on Challenge TV. If they haven't had a chance to check out TNA, and why they should go out of their way to check out the Knockouts centric episode.
Well, here's the thing. Friday night is going to be a night of knockouts. I mean, that in itself is awesome. We have such an incredible roster of girls. I mean, the talent there is undeniable. It's so good. There's a 4-way match to determine a new number 1 contender for the knockout title. So it's Angelina Love, Gail Kim, Madison Rayne, Brooke. All 4 of those girls are amazing. You know that they're going to bring it. Main eventing, myself and Awesome Kong. I've worked so hard for this title, and I believe that I deserve this title. I've earned it. There's no way that Kong is going to take it away from me. So, there are just some really cool, new knockouts debuting. There's so much excitement that is going on, and it's in one show. If you haven't been tuning in, or you do tune in, or whatever you do, set your DVRs, tune in, watch, because this is going to be a night that you will not forget.
All right. Well, Taryn, thank you so much for sitting down and talking to us for a little bit. Everyone, you can check out Impact Wrestling on Fridays on the Fight Network in Canada, in the United States at Destination America, or if you're in the UK, on Sundays on Challenge TV. And the Knockouts champion, Taryn Terrell, can be followed on Twitter at the Taryn Terrell. And I want to thank you so much for coming on with us, and I look forward to having you on again down the line.
Absolutely. Thank you so very much. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. And for everyone listening, we thank you for your support at PWInsiderElite.com. And when you get a chance, go to the DVR, hit record on TNA, and check out the TNA Knockouts edition this coming Friday, or Sunday if you're British. Take care, everybody.